This video is brought to you by Greater Commons. Greater learning, greater opportunities, greater life. Visit us at greatercommons.com.
So we've seen that a func has this signature. It's func, and then what's the next thing? Receiver, something called receiver, and then there's an identifier, and then there are parameters, and when we call a function, we pass in arguments for each parameter. And then there are returns. There could be a single one or multiple, and then you have your code block. So that's the signature for a function. So I want you to all write that down. Okay? And then when I ask you what is the signature for a function, what is the syntax? Sorry, what is the syntax for a function? You need to say it's a func, receiver, identifier, parameters, returns. This is just like being in auto shop class and the instructor saying, you know, what's the order in which you put that stuff back on the axle? You got to say it's the nut, it's the washer, it's the wheel, it's the washer, it's the nut. Okay, cool, you got it. Right? Just learning how this stuff works. It's mechanics. So func, receiver, identifier, parameters, returns. You got to know that. And I'm going to make that a comment by putting two spaces in front of it. Or two, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. 2 forward slashes. Those aren't spaces. Keep me on task. Keep me honest or whatever. When I make a mistake, call me out if it's confusing. So I could always leave that in because it's commented out. So the compiler will ignore it. So if I wanted to add a return here, this is what I do. So I'm going to change this, and I'm going to tell it to take in 2 ints, x and y. So I change my function, take in 2 ints, and I'm just going to change this up here. Okay. And it's going to return, instead of print, it's going to return. And if I wanted to, just to make this easy, or maybe a little less confusing, z is going to be equal to x plus y. And now it's going to return z. And I need to say, hey, I'm sending an int back. I need to say the type of the value I'm sending back. It's statically typed language. You have to be precise. So software engineering allows us to be creative, and it pulls on, what is it, the right side of our brain, the creative side of our brain. But software engineering is also very much engineering, and it requires precision. You go into engineering, you want to engineer automobile for BMW, the Bavarian Motor Works. They are going to have exact, precise measurements for different things they're putting together. It's engineering. It requires precision. And when you have precision, you can build things well. Not all languages are statically typed. Some are loosey-goosey. They're dynamically typed. JavaScript lets you do woo, 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 woo. But this is, the compiler's your friend. It will check and catch your errors, all that. So func foo takes in 2 arguments, has the parameters x and y, which are both ints. Notice how I assign that. You could just do commas there if they're of the same type. And it returns an int. And so when I call foo, that's going to return a value. So I'm going to assign that value. And just so this isn't confusing, I'm going to get this out of the way. And just put it down here. And I'm going to print them out. So you see what it's doing? Make sense? Say it back to me. What is the syntax of a function? Somebody say it back to me. Yep. All right. Cool. So that's one of your assignments. Nobody has any questions with that? I'm going to just take that URL and drop it in here to our notes. Func with return. I could have also, I don't know what that is. I could have also done it like this. Right? It's going to find the value of x plus y and then return that. Okie-doke. If I wanted to, I could also return multiple values. So now I have to return, I'll take it back to this way. Z is colon equal x plus y. Z comma 19. But I have to catch them then. If I'm returning them, I got to catch them. So you can do multiple returns. And I'll do a share on that. Anybody have questions about that? How's that look? Okay, right? It's not that bad. So the next one, so that's a func that multiplies two arguments, which are both a type int, returns the result as an int. So we just did that. Create a function that takes a string as an argument and then returns a string, which does some concatenation. Okay? So now I want you to do this assignment. And here's concatenation. So you could take a string, and then you could do a plus sign and have another string, and do a plus sign and another string, and it adds them all together. So I want you to create a function that takes a string as an argument, and then returns a string, which is concatenated, the argument that was passed in with some other text. Does that make sense? So you got 5 minutes. Do that assignment.